A $10 million investment by the Grains Research and Development Corporation will lead to improved wheat yields for Australian grain growers and closer international wheat research. It's Australia's contribution to the International Wheat Yield Partnership, or IWIP, a partnership born out of the 2011 G20-sponsored Wheat Initiative, whose mission it is to coordinate wheat research and contribute to global food security. IWIP's goal is to lift global wheat yields by 50% over the next 20 years.
The people who have wisdom, who know wheat plants inside and out, absolutely believe that we can push these yields substantially. But business as usual in the scientific discovery field is not going to do it. We need some breakthroughs, hence IWIP.
What's driving this agenda is an increasing demand for wheat, forecast to rise 60% by 2050 as global population pushes towards 10 billion. To satisfy demand, annual genetic gain needs to increase wheat yield by at least 1.7%.
So currently the rate of yield gain around the world is around about 1%, and that's not enough.
However, the cost of wheat yield research has become almost prohibitive.
Globally, the rate of progress has declined, and that's very disturbing, because if you project that out in the future at a time when more and more wheat is required, it means that the planet's on something of a catastrophe course.
So, to meet increasing wheat demand and offset the expense of rising research costs, international collaboration between public and private research organisations was seen as the best solution.
CIMMYT's a really important part of this initiative, but we're working closely with the French and the British, and they're in areas that we haven't really explored too much. And I think there's a lot of potential for Australia to improve its research capacity by cooperating with people who for a long time have been working in completely different areas.
IWIP's partners have pledged a total of $100 million to fund new research, and the first round projects were announced in Canberra in late 2015.
We started out with applications, nearly 100 applications from around about 40 countries in the world. That was narrowed down through a rigorous peer review process, and ultimately 8 outstanding proposals have been funded.
Of those 8 projects, Australian research scientists will be involved in 5 and will take lead roles in 3.
I think that really demonstrates the calibre of our researchers here in Australia and how they are esteemed and recognised right around the globe.
It's the Australian projects that GRDC's financial contribution will support. One of those will focus on 3 specific wheat genes that have an ability to improve plant growth under both optimal and stressful conditions.
The idea of the project is to look into what happens when we combine the 3 genes together. They have 3 different effects on the plant. What if we can combine them? Can we actually pyramid them together and get the enhanced yield that IWIP needs?
An agreement with CIMMYT, the wheat and maize breeding organisation in Mexico, will mean the breeding facility will act as a hub for the international research teams. Emerging material and germplasm will be sent to CIMMYT for trialling, and results will be shared.
It makes more sense for us to actually share the costs, share the risks, and potentially share the benefits. And at the same time, we're bringing the best skills, expertise from around the world to actually work on a problem which is really significant and important to Australian grain growers.
There will be obstacles to increasing wheat yield that even the combined weight of IWIP will find hard to overcome.
CIMMYT have advised me that in India, for example, a 1 degree rise in nighttime temperature can reduce yields by 10%. So that gives you a sense of the impact of climate change.
It's a risky business, and no Australian grain grower would tell you otherwise. But incredible gains have been made in the past, and GRDC and its IWIP partners are confident there's more yield gains yet to be had.
Well, if you look back over the last 20 years in Australia, wheat yields have doubled over that time frame. But it's not good enough. We can't stand still. We've got to be looking for new genetics. We've got to be looking for varieties that have that higher yield potential. And in this case, we're going for a really substantial, significant goal of increasing it by 50%.
This is not a discovery program for the sake of discovery. It's a discovery program that has a goal and an end product in farmers' fields. And that's part of what makes IWIP special.